everybody. Welcome to HappyAF. This is episode 2. Happy alcohol-free or
happy as fuck.
or in our case, both.
Right. By the way, before you start, I have a question. So I'm the kind of person who takes a sugar pill, and if you tell me that's actually drugs, I'll get high as a kite, right? So does that stuff numbs your inside? Because I'm feeling tingly. What's ashwagandha? Or what's
isn't that
ashwagandha? What's that?
It's a mushroom. Again,
is it supposed to make me high? I feel a little giddy.
What have I given you? Okay, so listen, we're doing this backwards. This was supposed to be at the end. So this is
right.
No. But look, we're doing it now. This is zero proof adaptogens and nootropics and superfoods.
I'm telling you, I'm catching a little high on that.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I'm feeling a little warmth, like right around my very prominent bosoms.
Okay,
right here.
So let's just be clear. There's no drugs in this.
No, but it feels like it should be. But it feels,
listen to what's in here.
You get a little.
Okay, let's tell everybody else what this is now that we're going. Peak cocktails. I love these. And it's, they advertise this zero proof cocktail for fitness recovery. And inside it is tart cherry, ashwagandha, lemon balm,
curcumin and zinc.
Yeah. And
I think the zinc is what is giving me the little tingly feeling.
Or the
ashwagandha, whatever the hell it's called.
All right.
And it's not watery, so it feels like a cocktail.
It feels amazing.
Yeah, it's
We're
great.
going to come back to that.
Anyways, you've been good?
I'm good. So it is a couple of days until Thanksgiving.
Right.
Thanksgiving is coming. So what we're going to talk about today is family time. And I think many people, when you say family time, makes you think, oh, fuck.
Right.
And get a little bit nervous. And a lot of people think in order to get through family time, drink is really helpful. But here's the other thing. In both of our countries, well, Ireland doesn't even have Thanksgiving. In fact, what's really funny, when I moved to America 4 years ago, my friends used to joke that I can't even say Thanksgiving properly. And actually, I still don't know.
What do you mean you can't say it properly?
Here? Because is it Thanksgiving? Is it Thanksgiving or is it Thanksgiving?
Oh, wow. I think,
but apparently I was saying
Thanksgiving. I just scrubbed the H and move on.
Is it the thanks or is it the giving? I don't know. Anyway, I just think it's so funny because when I moved here, I didn't celebrate the holiday. It didn't resonate with me in any way. And in Canada,
we have
it's a different day.
It's in October. It's on a Monday, and nobody really, really cares about it. It's like not a big deal, except you have Monday off, so that's like really cool. Okay. Actually, it was like last week.
Canadian Thanksgiving already happened.
Yeah, I was there. It was like it coincided with that event. I was there like last week.
Okay.
And last year, and actually, you're right about family time. You think of booze as helpful, which. Yeah. I hate to admit it kind of is, but it also fucks things up. So it makes it worse so that you need more booze in order to get out of it, right?
Well, I mean, we've all learned that, some of us the hard way. But before we talk about Thanksgiving, people need to comment and say, where is the emphasis on which syllable?
Politics. When I moved to the States, my accent was thicker, if you can even believe it. And there's a lot of things I would fuck up. Like, for instance, politics. It was one. So I have to think about it. It would be politics or economics. And nobody was an asshole, but everybody is assholes. Right?
All right, we're gonna get to the bottom of because same thing, but so many stories about words.
They told me the twat was a big hairy moose, and I went canoe tripping, and nobody told me, and I did 41 days.
Did you say canoe
trips when I was 16?
So it's a canoe.
Yeah, you're in a canoe for 40 days.
I know, but you said canoe.
Is there a wrong way and a right way? But long story short is every time, so I was learning English, and I don't know what went on that. It's nothing to do with booze, but maybe that's what drove me to drinking. They were like, oh yeah. I was like, what's a twat? I had heard that word, no idea what it was. They're like, oh, it's like a big hairy moose, like really hairy. And I'm like, wait, I've been calling everything a moose. They're like, yeah, you're French Canadian. We didn't say anything, but when it's really big and hairy, you should have really been calling it a twat. And I was like, oh, and they all forgot about it. So for 11 days, let's say we'd see so many mooses. And every time they were big, of course, I'm like getting up in the canoe. I'm like, there's a twat! There's a twat! This went on for 11 days. It was great until like someone couldn't take it. Then we meet Americans. We cross into Minnesota and we see these like troops of Americans. And back then I was a smoker and we had run out of cigarettes. So my guide is like, hey, Isabelle, go for it. The accent, the body. I was a little thing. I was 16 years old. It was cute. He's like, get these guys to give you a couple of packs of Marlboros. So I get up in the canoe in my bathing suit. I'm like, big boys. The guys come over. Oh, I haven't seen a girl and I have this accent. And so they give me cigarettes. So I was like, I need to chat them up a little bit. Otherwise that's rude. So I'm like, have you guys been hunting? Hunting? Because I didn't say H's back then. They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, have you been twat hunting? And they're like, oh, I guess you can say that. Anyways, back on the booze. So Thanksgiving, everybody.
So, when we did the pilot, we were kind of we've changed the layout because we learned some things. Okay.
Absolutely.
We got some new mics and we got some nice lights and we moved things around a little bit. But so, when we did this pilot, we had no idea, honestly, what the hell was going to happen. And we shared it with a few people, a producer, an editor, a marketing director, and a little test audience. And oh my gosh, people loved it. So we're back. And this is our little holiday mini season. And like I was saying, holidays, family time. Oh my God. Booze. We're going to talk about that. But first, since we recorded the pilot, your dad passed away.
He did, suddenly and surprisingly.
So, we're all about hilarity and fun on here, but this is a serious moment. And you talked about your dad in the pilot.
Right, of course I did. It was a big part. He's a big person. His personality was huge. And we found out after his death, and Dad, he knows I love him. And my dad has a great sense of humor. That's actually a little bit funny. He was also a big person. So my dad, when he was my age, was as thin as I am. And being a different generation, his idea of a vegetarian meal was a chicken, right? And so he'd smoke cigarettes like I did, but quit. But, I've always worked out. His idea of working out was using a cart for playing golf. So long story short, he had vascular issues, blockages, and that's what eventually he died of a heart attack. But when he passed away, my sister had to call right away the funeral home. He got cremated, and they said, well, we need to know how much he weighs, and my mom was crying. She goes, tell him 200 pounds. And my sister was like, really? Because he had a huge belly. My sister was like, oh, I'll butter that up a little bit. She's like, 210. So that stays like that. And 2 days later, they called my sister back, and they were like, and they were very soft-spoken. They're like lovely, lovely people. And they're like, Miss Laureier, I have a delicate subject to brace with you. And she's like, okay. They're like, the box, I don't know how to say that in English, in which we put your father.
Coffin.
The coffin. It's a bit of an issue. We think he might have been a little bit more well endowed than what you thought. So we need a bigger coffin. And my sister's like, oh, okay. Like, money is no object. My parents are well off. And she's like, how much are we talking about? And they tell her, and she's like, oh, wow. She goes, how much did my father weigh? They're like, 260.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
yes.
But now I feel like this whole episode is going to be about language and words. And so, again, I am not the benchmark for any of it because I say words all the time that don't mean the same thing.
Anything. Right.
But do you know what well endowed means?
Is that a pee-pee? Oh, I meant like enrobé. Like when you have too much fat on you. Oh, okay, wait. I did not know if he had a big endowment on that front, but I'm talking about his belly. So I
knew you were, but I didn't want to interrupt you when you were talking about that.
Envelope. Oh my God, that's hysterical. That's him. That's my dad. He's like, if you're gonna make fun of me, baby, there's gonna be big shit on me.
Yeah.
That part's gonna be big.
Yeah. Well, so listen. Not to speak ill or inappropriately. Maybe he was indeed well endowed, but we're not. That's not.
Listen. Okay, we're back.
Oh my God, I'm too
Rolling.
close to the microphone.
There better
to
be a lot of Schwenga in there. Fucking I talking my dad's penis. I was so, oh my God. Bleh. Okay, I'm back. I'm good. Wow.
Okay.
So, and when he passed away, so
Well, we have gone off the rails.
yeah, so he got cremated. And my dad was a happy person. You would, like, I'm laughing. So you'll say, I love them and it was hard. I lost too much weight and now I'm back. And we're very spiritual, not religious in my family. And I can feel him all the time in a very positive, gorgeous, gorgeous way. So that's why I feel good. But just
So
to
beautiful.
show you how much booze in our family is something is.
But listen, back up to when you texted
me. That's right.
Right. So you text me.
That's right. I forgot
and
about that.
I just went into
That's right.
friend mode. Right. So I was like, oh gosh, my heart is breaking for you because it was sudden. You weren't, there's no good way to lose a parent, but that way I lost both of my parents through long terminal illnesses. So,
Right. Oh, that's rough.
And so my immediate reaction to your situation was, oh gosh, she's going up there to family, dealing with a tragedy. We all knee jerk usually to, as soon as I get on the plane, I'm going to drink and I'm going to make myself numb a little bit. So, I mean, all I text you, what did I text you? I can't remember. It was like something like.
It was super nice. It was like something very positive. You were like, I hope obviously you're like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I lost my parents. You said, I remember my dad's, actually not so much because it was one of the worst hangover in my life.
Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right.
But you said, I hope you hang in there with the alcohol. Like, I know it's going to be tempting. And so, and like I told you, when I read that text, it took me a minute. I was like, wait, what's she talking about? And I was like, oh my God, of course. Everybody's going to think I want to drink. And so then we had dinner at my mom's house and my sister was there and like all the husbands. And I read your text and everybody was like, and then they were like, oh my God, we were just wondering, it's been 3 days. We were wondering if you're drinking. And I was like,
so you just were telling them what I had said to you.
And they had been on pins and needles this whole time, wondering if I wanted to drink.
Oh my
gosh,
gosh,
you
so
kind
funny.
of voiced it.
Well, listen, and I said that to you because one of my favorite things that you have said, that I love, it's just a succinct way of saying it. You have a problem, you have one problem, and then you drink, you have two problems.
Right.
And I remember you saying those words to me, they just really resonated. And so I wanted you to remember your own wisdom going up there. I wasn't worried that, but I know.
Right. No, and plus because I took that wisdom from quitting cigarettes, which was far harder. And I have hysterical stories on quitting cigarettes. It took me 2 years to quit. But when I finally stuck with it, that was the thing. Like, if you have a problem, you're like, fuck, I need a cigarette. No, you have two problems. And the thing with booze is, I don't know about you, but for me, it reached a point where like you feel it in your tissue. Like, I don't know, you feel engorged and and on top of having grief, I didn't want to feel all gross and sweaty and drowsy and you're feeling like shit enough.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny because I will say that alcohol did not cross my mind and I never thought I would say that. But the thing is that I heard from someone else's book or something, it made me realize that I had decided that there was no opening. There's no, I'm not drinking again, that's it. Like that door is shut.
Yes.
Like it's not something I can revisit, like the cigarettes. It's not.
Yes.
I was wondering, do you feel this way? Like, is the door shut? Like, for me, it's shut.
And here's the thing, like, I say this to you all the time. I also think it has something to do with how we chose this, right?
Correct.
Neither one of us were forced into a coming out of rehab. You really can't drink it.
Right.
We just reached a point in our respective lives that I know so many people in my own circle are doing this now too, is, you know what? It doesn't serve me anymore. I'm not, and I think for us, the catalyst for this podcast was making that a more normal conversation. It's not I had to quit.
No.
It's not that I was sacrificing. I am sacrificing. I'm giving up. I'm in recovery. It's none of those things for me. It's just, and the same for you. You're just like, I'm done. And I don't. So when people say to me, we had a dinner for Andrew's birthday the other day, and number of people at the dinner party. In our house, I made this huge meal, wine for everybody. We had a magnum of wine on the table. And a number of people at the table said, how are you doing this?
Right.
How are you watching everybody drink and not drink? Do you miss it? And I'm like, gosh, I wish I could understand to you that it doesn't cross my mind. I've just made a decision.
And also, like I told, and I have a question on your dinner party, by the way, so don't let me forget my question.
Okay.
Like I told Brooks, like for me, I was going to say trigger, but trigger would mean that I really want to drink. But there are certain things that you're like, I think sometimes I drank to enhance. So you create more dopamine that your body could, right? So you remember certain things and like, oh my God. Like for instance, for me, my favorite sport was rom-com and cheap wine on a flight. That like that's just below an orgasm. Like orgasm, rom-com, and turning leaf, right?
And again, just to go back, are you saying rom-com?
Oh, romantic comedy.
We should also just use this. What's a rom-com?
Well, something that comes in all kinds of ways. But anyway.
Rom-com, short for romantic comedies. Indeed. But I am with you.
But so like I'm going to Spain with my mom. That's a different funny story. And like the thought of, for a minute, I was like, yeah, I'm going to Spain. And it's like, oh yeah, but I can drink. Right? But then I was like, oh. Yeah. And then it's fine. But so that's the level of a trigger. But what I want to say is that I was telling Brooks, even if I have those moments where I'm like, oh, I remember when I used to drink on that and it made me feel a certain way and I might miss that, which is artificial.
Yes.
If you have quit for long enough, anyways, for me, you feel so great physically.
You wouldn't.
I've never felt that great.
Wouldn't give it up for anything.
I don't want to give it up. That's it. So I'm like, I don't want to give this.
Not for all the Chateau Petrus on the planet.
Right. That's what it is. I'm like, that trigger feels uncomfortable for about 1 minute.
Yes.
And that's not about, I don't want to lose this. Like, I feel like scrubbed from the inside out.
Yes.
I feel light. I just feel like, I don't know. I can't even explain it. But what I was going to ask you about the dinner party, which does happen to me, but then my sister was like, she thinks we're socially anxious and we don't realize it. So maybe that's the case. But so let's say I'm throwing a dinner party or party.
Yeah.
I can't wait for people to leave. Meaning that, I mean, I'm having a good time, but I have a limit amount in my body and head. Yeah. And after a while, I'm like, okay, now I'm done. So when I was drinking, I was able to just drink myself through that limit.
Totally.
And now I'm just like, so now it gives me a little anxiety because if I go to someone's house, I can get the fuck out whenever I want.
But when it's in your house,
then it's not. I'm happy they're there, but I'm like done.
So I also
think.
do you
handle that, or do you you don't care? You
honestly,
don't have
that dinner party. I mean, it was on a random weeknight because it was the only night we could get everybody together.
Right.
And it was
How late did you go?
It was 11 o'clock.
And you didn't get that like, leave. Oh my God, fucking leave. You didn't get that?
No, because in that particular group of people, we were all really catching up and hadn't seen for a long time.
Enough of interesting things.
That happens often with big parties. And we have a couple of huge parties in my house.
You guys always join big parties.
And so, when you've got 50 people that you need to get out of there. You need either to be the person that is like, hey, friends.
I do that.
Oh, let's wrap it up. I feel like there should be no problem for you doing that.
Right.
The other thing is someone gave me cocktail napkins that say, please leave by 9 p.m.
Oh, but I tell people that before I do the party. I'm like, 9 o'clock and I have a bell and I ring it. But I feel like I'm not.
You have a bell?
Yeah, my sister thinks I'm obnoxious.
Okay, no, I need a bell. Okay,
because
I need a please leave now bell.
Because I'm like, and my sister's like, it's so obnoxious. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm feeding everybody delicious, organically grown. I'm giving everyone the best fucking service, the best everything. At 9 o'clock, I'm spent.
You're like, I want to go.
So
and you're also like me. You're up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So by the time 9 o'clock comes, you're like, peace out, everybody. I need to go to bed.
We don't start at 7. We start at 5.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not in Spain. If you know what I'm saying? It's not Spain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm going to like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to stay up late.
You are. You're not even having dinner till 10 o'clock. So I don't. Listen,
annoying.
you'll be on that other time zone.
I think I'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's like everything is gonna be fine.
But I want to go back to the trip to Canada.
Right.
Because, you know, family, a lot of people are going home in the next week or so for family. And you were not only going to be with massive amounts of family, you were dealing with a huge family loss and a big tragedy. Tell me about doing it without alcohol.
So it's interesting. It wasn't a thing. I think I was and actually that's the first time I realized that. I think if you're so busy or consumed by one emotion, then you don't have time to think about alcohol. And obviously I've reached a point where I didn't think it would make it better. And by the way, that might have helped too. Like if I'm really stressed or shocked with something physically, like my intestines get like twisted. I get very, 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 very nauseous and I can't eat. So I lose a lot of weight, right? So being really nauseous, like booze wasn't on my mind. But then when I got better, I don't know, it still wasn't. And it was great. And I remember thinking, and I told that to my mom, thankfully I'm not drinking because it would have not only given me two problems, but I think it would have made the sadness sadder.
Yes.
It would not have helped out at all.
No, of course not.
It would have been bad.
It would have been so bad.
It would have been bad.
And here's one of the things that I do. I don't know if you do this.
Right.
But I do this like sliding doors thing.
Right.
Where I put myself in the scenario of if you were still drinking.
In this same scenario.
This is what would have happened.
Right.
And it makes me go, because I remember the situations.
Right.
And, you know, I mentioned my father's funeral was unequivocally the worst hangover of my life. I think the drunkest I have ever been in my life.
That's horrible.
Like it was so bad. And when I think now, God, if only I wasn't drinking then. It was this crazy scenario. It was Andrew and I had just got married 6 weeks earlier.
Right.
It was the last time I saw my dad. So my dad had motor neuron disease, ALS.
Oh,
and it's so horrible.
One.
It's so horrible.
Oh, Lord.
And we're still living in New York, and I had flown back probably 10 times in the previous couple of years saying, this is it. This is the end. Oh, and so when we got back from our honeymoon, I actually went out on tour. I was working with, I was in South Pacific with Lincoln Center.
Wow.
And I was out on tour for that. It was in San Francisco, and I remember getting the phone call. And I was like, oh gosh, it was the middle of the night. I had to do a matinee. So I did a matinee performance, and my amazing husband and mother-in-law were like, when you get off the stage, there will be a car waiting at the stage door. Just get to the airport. There is a flight booked. Just, bring your passport.
So
go.
stressful.
We will meet you in Heathrow and we will fly to Cork together.
Right.
So left the show. I got on that flight.
Started drinking?
Immediately.
I can see that.
And I drank so much.
On the flight, you drank so much?
On the flight.
And that's because
so
you
bad.
Swell from the inside. Don't you think it's worse drinking on a flight? You feel like swollen from your inside.
It's so bad. And when I moved to New York
what were you drinking? Wine or hard liquor?
I probably started with a couple of cocktails and then I had...
A rom-com? The com you don't run from?
I mean...
I'm such a child, right?
You're hilarious. I was so drunk and I had flown transatlantic. I don't even know. Like
you were pounding them. You were like,
but I had flown back and forth from New York to London and Ireland so many times, had a couple of drinks, gone to sleep, wake up and have a normal day.
But you probably had more than a couple on that one.
No, I had so many drinks that the flight attendant
cut you off.
Woke me up. We were already on the runway.
Oh, shit.
So they had put my chair up. I didn't wake up, landed on the runway, got off the plane. I have no recollection.
You probably were still drunk the next day.
No, there's no question I was still drunk.
Right.
I get to Heathrow and now I know I have to make a connection.
Oh, yeah.
I look at my watch and I realize I was wearing the prop watch from the show.
You're kidding.
No. So I hadn't even taken So it was... It was also a watch from the 1940s. So I'm wearing the prop watch. I go to the bathroom. I'm wearing the show underwear. Like all the stuff that goes onto the costume.
Right.
And I'm like, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to get in so much trouble because you're not allowed to take the stuff out of
Shit
the
out.
theater. So I'm like, I meet my mother-in-law and Andrew, Marge and Andrew, and we fly. I remember that entire day feeling, I think I'm going to be sick constantly. It was also
That's the
a very
worst.
fractured family gathering, as so many family gatherings are. But this one was like, there was so much bitching and negative
Really?
talk and da-da-da-da, and I was just dealing with it from all sides. And I was like, oh my God. So the only thing I can do now is
You have
keep
to
drinking.
Keep drinking. You can't. You
So
can't
I kept
stop.
drinking.
Right.
And I mean, not obviously during the
No,
funeral.
but enough to like keep you like drunk, because if you start being hungover, then you're gonna feel like really
100%.
like shit.
So I kept myself a little bit drunk.
Just like
that
coasting.
entire
Yeah, you have to.
time.
Oh my God.
And I remember the funeral. I remember drinking right when it was over. We stayed, I don't know if this is true in all hotels. In Ireland, like when the hotel doors are closed for the night, they will have a bartender who will just serve you drinks 24/7.
Oh wow.
So we stayed up, kept drinking.
Right.
I'm feeling a little bit sick now thinking back to it, because I remember identifying a feeling in my body that I had never ever felt
What
before.
was it?
It was like outer body. It was, I don't know, my whole body was like tingly and awful.
Ew.
And I finally went to bed at like 4:00 in the morning.
And then you can't sleep properly.
Oh, couldn't sleep. Got up. Was
You must have woken up like
so
shit.
sick. I will never ever forget that hangover.
Ugh.
And like we said in the last episode, how many times I got back home and I was like,
Of
I am
course.
never ever ever drinking
Drinking
again.
again.
Turns out I did drink. I drank many more times.
Of course.
But I look at those situations now and I do it both ways. So when I'm feeling great, I'm like, well, if you were drinking right now, you would have done this, and this, and this,
Right.
and this is how you'd be feeling.
Right.
I don't live with regrets, and
Right.
I 100% don't wish I never drank, because there were
No.
great times in my
Yes.
life. That's an example of a pretty horrible
Horrible time.
experience in
Yeah.
my
Right.
drinking past. But I think, gosh, I would have handled my family, the loss, the travel
A lot differently.
so much better
Yeah.
if I had not been drinking during that time.
And the thing about alcohol is like, some people that can just drink a glass of wine or a scotch here and there, and that they can spend their life like that, probably, even though alcohol is a carcinogen, like something is going to kill you. Like Wi-Fi is probably a carcinogen too.
Yes.
So those people are experiencing probably the best of alcohol if there's such a way. But it is an addictive substance, and we all can fall prey
Yes.
to the addiction. And I know I have, in the sense that no one would have said Isabelle is addicted to alcohol. I wasn't walking around like,
right.
right?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
how many times was I like, fuck that, I'm not drinking today. And by 3:00, I'm like, well, you got to die from something, right? And it's Chablis. It's not like I'm drinking, like turning leaf, right? And speaking of which, I told you, like, speaking of family and father's death and Chablis. So Chablis was my drug of choice, simply because I used to love red wines, which I'm back on, but AF.
Yeah,
now I prefer, so
because there's a lot of great ones
That's
now.
really funny. So I used to love red wines, right? And I hit menopause at 40. And all of a sudden, I'm like, shit, red wine, not the alcohol. Red wine, of course, was
Yes.
the culprit for bad sleep.
Correct. It was the
God,
grapes.
Lord, I
It
would-
wasn't the
Of
alcohol,
course,
for
it's too much
goodness sake.
tannins. It's the amount of tannins in the red wine. So I had to stay away from all these delicious Barolos and whatever else I accumulate, cognac and all that over the years. And I went straight to Chablis, right? Just now, I'm back to the red wine AF, because it's not the tannins, it was the booze. I
Yeah.
can sleep,
Turns
and I
out.
drink 2 bottles of that shit if I go to a party, and I'm like, right, by 9:00. But so Chablis was like my drug of choice. The more expensive, the better, because then it meant I wasn't a drunk.
Yeah.
And so last weekend, long story short, business trip, ended up in Florida. I have my stepmother-in-law lives down there with my father-in-law. So I spent a night with them and at dinner, and she's British, and I love making fun of her accent. Like, I don't have one. And she goes, I arrived on there, she's like, dear Lord, your father was horrible. And, she's all being nice to me about the passing of my father. And she goes,
okay, it was horrible that he passed.
Yes,
Okay, not
right.
he wasn't horrible.
right, no.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
he passed and all that. And then she's like, are you doing, sweetie? And she's like, I have gone through all sorts of liquor store and stores to find your non-alcoholic wine. I couldn't find it anywhere. Meanwhile, I went to Total Wine and they had like about 10 different brands.
But
It's
she couldn't find
okay.
any.
I brought my own shit. I wasn't expecting, right? She goes, everywhere I've been in Sarasota, I can't find it. So since I didn't have a choice, I got you a Chablis. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. She's like, you are still not drinking, right? I'm like, correct.
Yes,
Oh,
and you're like,
and the Chablis
so
is,
Chablis is
yeah.
included
And so
in the
she was
not
like,
drinking.
and the Chablis, I'm like, no, I watch you drink it though. And you tell me if you like it, So to be nice, I smelled it. I was like, it still smells like Chablis, But I thought it was just to tell you how
So
family can
funny.
be such in denial about, you know.
in denial, and
Yeah.
also just
And you can't take it personal. When I
No.
told that story to someone was like, so, and I'm like, no, she's trying to be nice. And she's like, shit, I can't find the stuff. So I'll buy her a Chablis.
listen, this is the whole reason we're doing this bloody
Right.
podcast is we're trying to normalize not drinking.
It's not a big
Like,
deal.
it should be,
Right.
it should be a total, oh, you don't drink? Moving on.
Right, that's it.
I mean, I have been to, over the course of this summer, I don't know how many different events where the I'm not drinking was met by, huh? What? And I'm like, and I want everyone who's making
I
that
told you,
choice
just tell
not
them
to
you're
have to
pregnant. Just tell them you're pregnant. That's what I do. I'm like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And if so, they're fucked because if they look surprised and they're telling me I look old, they can't do that. And if they're like, oh, wow, congrats, they look like assholes.
But honestly, like part of our mission here is to actually just keep saying it wherever you go.
Right.
You're like, no, I don't drink here. And now most places, so when I throw any kind of party, and this has been for the past year,
Right.
I have an entire section of non-alcoholic
You have to.
options.
You have to.
Right. But that's not the experience I
That's
have when
true.
I go to other places or other people's homes because it's not the normal. But I bring my own.
And I think also our mission is talking about the AF and normalizing it, like you say, but also just talking like that makes me realize that women of our age, early 50s, late 40s, whatever, we deal with a lot of shit. And I think a lot of us have reached out for booze.
Yes.
Because we have a lot on our
100%.
place because life has changed. In the last 200 years, we have 25 issues to deal with, whereas 200 years ago, maybe you had 5,
Yes,
right? You
yes.
make sure your kids don't die, make sure you have a roof over your head.
Yep.
And now it's like, oh, and our brains haven't adjusted. So people reach out for drugs and alcohol. And alcohol is the easy one because it's legal and it's acceptable.
Yep.
And I think we're also here just talking about all the daily shit we put up with.
Yeah.
And how do we do that without numbing ourselves?
No, I mean, of all of the quit lit that I read,
Right.
the quit literature, I mean, most of the books I read were written by women, and most of the focus has been on how big alcohol
Right.
has approached women in their advertising. It's sexy, it's da-da-da. And you're absolutely right, because I think one of the things for me in the catalyst was, one of the catalysts for me to quit was thinking, I'm not coping with it. Like I'm
Right.
And I have
Correct.
a very full, I'm one of those, I hate the word busy because busy has such a negative connotation.
Yeah, and business is fun,
It's
actually.
Like,
Right.
a yoga instructor told me this years ago and I've never stopped using it. Full. My life is
Right.
so full.
That's right.
My life is so
That is
full,
true.
in the most glorious way, with my work, with my family, with all of the different organizations I'm involved in.
Right.
My life is full in the most beautiful way. But we are conditioned to think that when you've got all of these things
It's too
going on,
much.
not only if it's too much,
No, but we're conditioned to think it's too much.
And then you're like, what do I do to take the edge off? I have a drink. And I think the more...
And then you get addicted to it. Your brain starts thinking, I take a drink,
Yes.
my cortisol goes down for a second, then it goes back up. And so you just create a habit and then you create an addiction.
It's a ritual,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
we've talked about that too, and how you and I are the kind of people that still love the ritual
Right.
of a lovely glass of something nice in it, but we can absolutely do it without alcohol.
And by the way, speaking of accent and seeing things funny, when you mentioned quit lit, I was certain you were talking about clit lit. So I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what kind of clit lit? Send me some titles.
Quit
NTR.
literature.
So we're going to review a little clit lit from Maxine. So with the rom-com and the clit. No, okay, it's not. It's
When
not.
well
There's gonna be
endowed.
like 5 E's next to our episode. You know, they have the little
God.
explicit.
Listen, we are absolutely branded this as, unapologetic, uncensored. This is not for sensitive people. But yeah, you're right. And that's the other thing, thinking about Thanksgiving coming up, right? Most families, I'm not saying all families, but most families, the burden of cooking,
Right.
preparing, it's all falling on the women
Right.
in the family. And okay, so actually you didn't even ask me this when you came in today.
What?
You're like, why are you wearing a sparkly pink sweater today?
Why are you wearing a sparkly pink sweater today?
With sweatpants. Because Thanksgiving is I lost my mom on Thanksgiving.
Oh, you're kidding. I'm sorry to hear that.
Many years ago.
Right.
But it changed the holiday.
Of course
for
it
me,
does.
right? And I had both kids at that point, and so I left Andrew, and the kids were with their dad and their amazing grandparents, and I flew to London where my mother was. Same thing, and I sat in vigil with my mother. And actually, now that I'm talking about it, it was such a different experience than my father's.
Were you drinking with your mother?
I mean, I was drinking,
But
but it wasn't that kind of like when I flew over. I don't know if it was just a different. Gosh, I should maybe speak to a therapist about this. So when I flew to my mom, so my mom hadn't passed away. So there, I guess, was the difference.
Right.
They said it's going to be in the next few days.
Got it.
Which was an amazing gift. So my mother had frontal temporal lobe dementia. So that's what Bruce Willis has right now. It's early onset. It is also so deeply connected to alcohol and frontal temporal lobe dementia. So my mom did drink, and it's only much later in my life did I realize that it played a much bigger role than I ever anticipated.
Right.
Or I ever understood at that time.
Right.
And my parents were party people.
Right.
We used to have parties in our house all the time. And my dad was one of those, I don't think I saw him drunk.
Right.
In my entire life. He was also 6'2".
He could keep it down.
So and he would drink gin and tonics, and I saw my mother drunk many, many times in my life. But at a party, or at a party in our house, and then she would wake up and she would be hungover. But it was like, it was just part of the society. It was how we lived. Later in life, not knowing at this point the early onset dementia was starting to happen. We thought it was hormones. We thought it was depression. We thought it was all of those things. Alcohol was playing a different role in her life. I remember the first time I found a bottle of vodka hidden somewhere.
Oh, right.
I was like, okay. So she was depending on alcohol and didn't, and many of us in our family didn't even know about it. Now there were do an entire different podcast about that.
Right.
The shit that goes on inside your family that nobody knows about and I didn't know about. And anyway, when I flew home we knew it was going to be the end for my mom, and me and my siblings were able to sit in vigil for a week, which was a really lovely gift that we got to sit there. Now, you don't know what people at that point with this illness comprehend. My mother knew I was there 100%, knew I was there, even though all, the nurse, the hospice nurse, they were like, I was bawling, and she was like, I want you to know she's in no pain and she doesn't know anything. And yet when I knelt beside her bed and whispered in her ear and kissed her face and looked in her eyes, a tear came out. And I'm like,
so she knew.
I'm like, don't fucking tell me my mother doesn't know I'm here.
You can feel in your insides.
Anyway,
your souls were connected.
This is a long way of telling you why I'm wearing this sweater. This was the last thing she wore.
Oh.
So, and I kept this, and I wear it every Thanksgiving.
Right.
But so it was a completely different drinking experience.
Correct.
So I was prepared a little.
Right.
I mean, we sat there, and I feel like I was too exhausted every night to ever drink. I left her bedside and went to sleep and came back the next morning. And she, when my mom died, it was like for me the last tether.
To Ireland?
She was in London, but to Europe, to Europe,
that part of your life,
to my family, to that part of my life.
Right.
I felt like literally something just released
you,
and it was gone.
Right.
And I remember her funeral, and I wasn't drinking, there was a party in a pub afterwards. I mean, Irish deaths and drinking are synonymous. I mean, it's
150
what
people
we
showed
do.
up to my dad, and there was booze and French music, and like it was a party.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually love the idea of
Love it.
celebrating
Yeah.
life, celebrating that person's life. But me as the daughter and looking at these two things so differently now, when we went to this pub in London after the funeral, and I was like, I think I'd said to Andrew that morning when the funeral, we did it very quickly. I'm like, I'm coming home after the funeral.
Right.
And he was like,
I'm
oh,
out.
you don't know? I was like, no. So the funeral was over. We went to the pub. I maybe had a drink. And I got in a cab and I went to Heathrow Airport. I remember sitting at Heathrow, getting on the plane. I remember all of that time. It's like my father's whole experience was a blur. And this one I remember so clearly. I remember sitting on the airplane and going,
This is it.
I don't know when I'll go back there.
Right.
I don't know when I will cross
Not
the
feeling
Atlantic again.
attached.
Not
Right.
but so back to your point about women and family, it's like now coming into these times, right? I know I look at it differently. I know I look at it with alcohol removed from my thinking, 100%. Everything just seems more manageable.
Because it is more manageable, and also it's clearer, and especially like not to get political, because that's certainly not political, and plus I get my news from the Today Show, so like they do marriages.
Thank God SNL is back.
And, you know what I'm saying? But in these times, like we are in the middle of weird times. You know, there's a lot of wars.
Yes.
The politics are questionable for everybody. Doesn't matter what side you're on. You're like scratching your head, going like, "Am I okay? Am I not okay with that?"
Yeah.
There's so much going on, and I remember saying, you know, they legalized pot, and I'm cool with that. I don't care. But I'm like, is it really the time to like be numb and not know what the fuck's going on? You know, it's nice to be clear-headed.
Yes.
And you know, you were talking about Thanksgiving and family and throwing a party. So last year, I hosted Thanksgiving in Vermont after 39 days of sobriety. Before that, 9 days sober, I threw a bachelor party for my sister who got married at 48. I threw a bachelor party. I was 9 days sober. 9 days. I can't believe, even my
So
husband
we're
was like,
definitely going to have to just go back to that word because it's bachelorette.
what did I say?
I don't know, but it sounded like
bachelorette.
batshit. It sounded like you were saying I threw a batshit party.
I threw a batshit party. Actually, it might have
We're
been.
going to have to do a spin-off of this podcast of
like
how to pronounce
there's
words.
a lexicon at the end. But the thing is,
So
like,
you threw a bachelorette party
Yes.
after quitting drinking 9 days earlier.
days.
And then you hosted Thanksgiving.
After 39 days. And by the way, on the 9-day bachelorette party, I think your first couple of weeks sober, if you were a heavy drinker like I was, is probably a blur. Like you're sober, but you're not. For
Yeah.
me, like I was still like, where am I? And I remember someone brought a karaoke machine in our house, and I sang Dream On, like Aerosmith, and I owned it like the bitch I am.
Oh, why
And
is
all
there
these-
not video footage of
Oh,
that?
there is. Like
Oh,
my
great.
sister has it. My sister was like, holy
need to see that.
shit, I can't believe you're sober. I mean, I went for it. I had bought like a 4 feet tall, big, huge inflatable penis that had hung in front of the house. Didn't realize that all the neighbors could see it. So when I would go to the general store, strangers would be like, hey, looks like it was a fun party. And I'm like, what? They're like, well, there was a huge penis in front of your house. Like, it was really funny.
So why was there a huge penis?
Because it was a bachelorette party, and
Oh,
apparently
sorry.
it's a team.
I'm now thinking you had a penis at Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And I'm
actually,
like, somebody
that would
has
have been
also
funny.
punked you
That
and
would have
told
been
you that
funny.
in America,
No.
you must have an inflatable penis for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
This is a perfect way for us to wrap it up.
Right.
Because we're all going to spend time with family. And so many of us are dealing with people
The
who don't
thorn.
think like us,
Right.
who are judgmental, who are judging you for drinking, judging you for not drinking. It's like, how about stop judging me? And just, but I think for me, I give so little fucks about it now. It's like,
Good for you.
what-
Right.
If you're like, oh, she must have had a problem. Oh, she doesn't drink
Oh,
because
about
of this.
that, I don't
Fine.
care.
But for all of it, I feel like we are now in this place where having removed alcohol, the thought that goes with it, that problems are just, or the stressors are less stressful.
And so, right. And the thing is that when I was drinking, let's say like the next day, like, man, she's such an asshole. But then I would play back, well, maybe I wasn't very nice. What did, like, and it was fuzzy. Like, was I obnoxious? Like, because you're a little, I was always a little something. I was like your dad. You'd never see me. My mom says, I never saw you drunk. I was like, I was drunk all the time. Like, what do you mean? You always saw me drunk. She's like, I never saw you. So, but you're like, oh, maybe I would have not said it that way. Maybe it was me. Like, you question yourself. Yeah. But when you're sober, the next day you're like, no, it was fine. I was nice. I didn't do anything.
It's that word clarity.
You have clarity.
Right? You have clarity, and you're dealing with all of the situations with a level head, without crazy out of whack emotions and all of that stuff.
Well, let me tell you a conundrum for another podcast that I don't think I've ever told you, and you might fall off your chair.
Oh, gosh.
My husband and I have started a Scotch company. But we're shelving it for a minute because it's a heritage Scotch company. We started years ago, and like we have trademarks and stuff like that. And actually, we decided we need to shelve it for a minute because investors are nervous into investing in alcohol companies.
Yeah, because they're investing in NA companies.
And we're looking into making it AF. But what kind of a conundrum is that? Isn't that funny, right?
No, it's not, because here's what you need to do.
What do I need to do?
You need to have both. I'm not saying everybody should stop drinking.
So, but that's what we said. We're going to have both. So, because it was a heritage Scotch, a collectible.
I just read an article about a club, a bar, something that just opened in New York.
Right.
It's 50-50. Because there's plenty of NA bars that have opened all over the place.
Drinkers. Some of them are fun.
50-50.
Right.
50% with alcohol, 50%
Love that.
And there's, this is the future.
And by
this is why we're talking about
By the way, if I could be 50-50, I would.
Yeah.
But I cannot. I tried.
Right.
I tried being 50-50 and it's painful.
Yeah. Well, and listen, it's a whole conversation for another podcast is moderation.
But those that can do that, it's great.
Yes. So, happy Thanksgiving.
Wanga to you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Right. Thanksgiving.
And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Think about what's in your glass when you're going into a stressful situation. Have an amazing holiday. We have got 2 more episodes coming before the end of the year where we're going to be, what comes after Thanksgiving? It's Christmas time. Talk about all the stressors that go with that. And gifting and all of the things that go with the holidays and the office parties and all of that. So we're going to be talking about that. Thank you to everybody who has already shared how much you've enjoyed us and our honesty and our funny way of saying things as an Irish woman and a Canadian woman. But if you like what you're hearing, please write to us. Let us know. Subscribe, follow us on all the social media platforms. It's HappyAF Podcast, happyafpodcast.com. Thank you so much, everyone. And please follow, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Stay happy as fuck.